The fight I once famously claimed would never happen is now looking like it's happening. Tom Aspinall just had a meeting with Hunter Campbell of the UFC and said that there is some positive news and gave an interview with Ariel Helwani revealing some details. Now, as I said, I've had my doubts plenty of times before about this fight happening just because I thought this was a risky fight for Jon Jones. I would still pick Tom Aspinall, and I'd be surprised, honestly, if Jon Jones won. And we have been stuck in this limbo pretty much since November now. It has been about 5 months. Things are starting to heat up. We want answers. Us fans want answers, and we're going to find out today. Let's see what Tom Aspinall has to drop on us, guys. But first, please hit the subscribe button and also comment in the comment section below to help with the algorithm. And let's go see what our boy Tom had to say.
There was a video where you were on a train and you were just kind of talking about everything going on in your life, and you had mentioned that there's a meeting coming up with the brass. This is the biggest story in the sport. Let's not kid ourselves. When your next fight is going to be Jon Jones, all this stuff. We saw him emerge on Saturday at the Dirty Boxing event.
And I made a video talking about this very thing. I believe it was like 1 week ago or 2 weeks ago. But we have been seeing, yeah, look, Tom Aspinall, it didn't look good last time. He looked a little bit more nervous, a little more uncertain if the fight was actually going to happen or not. And that's why I'm curious to see, how did this meeting go, right? We know that him and Hunter, they had a meeting, and it seemed on social media it went positive, but we'll hear the exact details here. And let's see what Tom Aspinall has to say about this meeting.
We went across town and met Hunter. That was probably around 10:30, 10, something like that. And we had a nice meal. We talked everything through. You know, Hunter has always been extremely personable and reasonable with me. I can't say what he's like with other people, I don't know, but with me and my team, he's been nothing but hospitable and fantastic. And we had a fantastic meeting. Everything went amazing. I understand my position now. I understand what the company's doing now. And you got to stay tuned, my friend. There's some big news coming.
Right, that is huge. All right, now this is something that we would not have expected last week. We are nowhere near, you know, it seems like big news territory. It seems like we're at this stalemate. I talked about this. It seems like Jon Jones wants a specific number, whether that be 20, 30 million, whatever it is. And the UFC and them are under negotiations. It is good that the UFC is telling Tom, saying, hey, look, relax. This is in a good space. Everything is going how we want it to. So I think it's a good sign, and I think we could potentially see the UFC pay Jon Jones a 30 million or 20 million. I don't know the exact number, but I'm sure it's probably around that.
Okay, well, this is promising. I mean, obviously you had expectations, and it sounded like you weren't let down, you weren't deflated afterwards. Dana White also telling the aforementioned Adam Catterall, we're done, but we're not done. But it sounds like he is confident as well. So it seems like everything is moving in the right direction. Is that a fair way to assess things right now?
I think that's fair. That's fair to say. That's definitely fair to say.
That's good.
Are you feeling, because I was getting the sense in that video on the train that you were starting to reach like the end of the road as far as your patience is concerned. Are you feeling like you're in a good spot?
I'm feeling like we're in a good spot right now, yeah.
So this is Tom basically confirming, saying in his own words, we're headed towards the right direction, right? Like, this is all signs of positive. We are on the way to Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall being legit. It just seems like we have a few hurdles, and what could that possibly be? I mean, it's probably money, right? I mean, I know we've talked about Jon Jones ducking Tom Aspinall, and it's something that I'm gonna be real, I've thought that Jon Jones was doing, and I for a while was saying that Jon Jones will never fight Tom. But it does seem like, look, if Jon Jones is willing to fight Tom and is asking for 20 million, 30 million, something around that range, guys, I've been completely honest. If the fight doesn't get made and that was Jon Jones's position, that's 100% the UFC's fault. I mean, 20 to 30 million for Jon Jones, that's totally fair. This guy has probably given the company so much money. UFC underpays their athletes as it is. This is like back pay. Just give him the last 20, 30 million, and plus you have the potential that Tom Aspinall beats Jones and becomes a star himself and potentially brings MMA to the UK, something like we've never seen before. Because yeah, while Michael Bisping was the champion, he was a bit older in his career. It wasn't like this was like prime time fighting as a champ. This could be potentially Tom Aspinall going on a crazy run at heavyweight, and seeing how steep the division is, it's not like he has much competition.
But after the meeting, I'm feeling very optimistic about things. I'm in a really good spot with everything and my future moving forward, and I think yeah, it's exciting times, man. It's really exciting times. And
it's good to hear.
I mean, it's not a massive break, to be honest. People are saying, "Oh, you know, Jon Jones is holding up your career and stuff." Like, it's only been 7 months. It's not too bad. And
a little longer when it's done.
I don't want to say too much, but
I understand.
And this is what is really striking me. Tom looks like he's hiding something, right? I mean, like, tell me not. He's saying, yeah, I don't want to say too much. Like, he doesn't want to fumble something, which is what I'm going to talk about near the end of the video, which is what I think potentially is not if, but when this fight is happening. I think that this might be a pretty big surprise when this fight is happening. It might come out of nowhere.
But you have said you're not defending that title ever again, right? You're either fighting Jon Jones or the next time you fight, it's for undisputed against someone else. And you said that in the video. I'm assuming you shared that in the meeting, and that was met well.
That is correct. That is correct.
Good.
Yeah, the
Good
UFC
for
know
Tom.
where I stand with that.
Do you think Jon Jones wants to fight you?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know, Joe. I've met him once. I know nothing about him. I have no idea.
What is your feeling? Do you think he, obviously we've heard the reports. I've heard the same about how much he's asking for. So he understands how big of a fight it is if he's asking for top dollar. Do you think he's asking for top dollar so that the UFC says no and he says, hey, I tried? Or do you think he genuinely wants to prove his point against you and then potentially walk off?
Oh, you mean like try and price himself out?
Yeah, I think he deserves every penny that he's asking for because
Yeah,
I think he's
so
the greatest
too.
of all time, and the resume would speak for itself. But a naysayer would say, oh, you know the UFC is not going to give you this, so you can say, hey, I asked for this, they didn't want to give it to me, it's not on me.
I would also agree with the notion that he deserves every penny that he makes because he, yeah, he's done everything. He's done everything that he can.
Yeah, as I was just talking about before, I mean, the 20, 30 million, even $40 million, like, that is definitely doable for the UFC to give to Jon Jones. This is a big fight, a risky fight for Jon Jones to take at his age, at this weight class. 1,000% would deserve 20 to 30 million. That is not at all, like, some crazy thing, especially consider, like, Jon is not going to be fighting, you know, 20 more fights, 10 more fights. He doesn't have, like, a whole career in front of him. This is probably his last fight. Like, give him the money, and I'm not even a guy that's a fan of Jon Jones. I've criticized Jon Jones all the time on the channel. There's tons of videos of me hating on him, but objectively, you might not like the guy, you might not like Jon Jones, but he deserves that, you know, 20, 30 million. That is more than fair, and I think it's ridiculous that the UFC is really going to put up a fight over 30 million, 20 million dollars. They could probably give Tom and Jon both that money and still profit from the fight, so there's no excuse.
Are you confident your next fight will be against Jon Jones?
You'll have to stay tuned, my friend. That's all I can tell you.
I'm not asking, is it going to be? I'm just asking if you're confident.
I'm confident.
Okay.
Oh,
Do you think you fight before the fall?
Are you saying about that 6-month thing?
Yeah.
How on earth do you know about the 6-month thing?
Tom, you know, listen, I don't pry about your personal conversations. I don't appreciate you asking me for my sources, okay? I mean, there's a certain, like, respect here, you know? What do you want me to come out here and reveal everything?
And this is the big thing, guys. This is what I wanted to make the video about, was this question and Tom Aspinall's deflection. It is something that we have been hearing hints about. We have been hearing that there is something big in the works, something that is going to surprise us all. And I'm wondering right now, like, I have been saying for a long time that we're going to have to wait till November to see Tom Aspinall and Jon Jones. It makes sense to have that fight at MSG. It just sucks we're waiting all this time. Well, now I'm starting to think maybe we're not going to wait all that long. Maybe we are going to get this in the summer, maybe international fight. But we've also been hearing this from Tom. We've heard Tom say he's confident before. I mean, we've been hearing this for a long time.
A meeting with Dana, the other UFC brass, Hunter, and all success. I'll see you next time. Big news coming. Big news coming.
We heard Michael Chandler say how confident he was going to fight Conor McGregor, and sometimes this stuff just doesn't happen. But the question is, do I think this fight happens, guys? I think we're heading towards a really positive direction. This fight is big, and a lot of people want to see this fight, and it's time to make it. I mean, there's no more excuses, guys. Let me know in the comment section below, who do you guys think is going to win? Check out my last video where I talked about Leon Edwards, you know, just fall off from the UFC and his terrible performance against Sean Brady. You guys are the best fan base in MMA. Hit the subscribe button, like, comment, and share, y'all, and I'll see you guys in the next one.